What's up YouTube, we're back again, and today we're going to be taking a look at guppies, specifically how to take care of them and how to breed them. Alright, so the first thing we got to know about guppies. Guppies are a very common fish in the fish keeping hobby. You see them at most local pet stores, pets at home. You'll see them at your harder to find pet stores. Guppies are a beautiful fish, and if we take a good look at them, you get a lot for not much money at all. They're very inexpensive. They have beautiful coloration, so you can get them in red, blue, white, yellow, a mix of colors, and they are super easy to breed. So step one in taking care of a guppy is when you first bring a guppy home. Actually, even before that, first step, make sure your aquarium is cycled. It's really easy to make a mistake, not cycle your tank, put these guys in, and then they're dead within a week. First things first, cycle your tank. There are many ways to cycle your tank. I can make another video looking at how to specifically cycle your tank, but the best way to do it is add in a little bit of food, add in that bottle of bacteria that helps you start up your aquarium, and give it a few weeks. The food will decompose and give the bacteria something to eat, but it also means that the bacteria can then cycle and work into it the culture that you have. Another important thing to do before cycling your tank, I don't know if this works for every pet store, but certainly for mine, you can always take in your aquarium water and they can test it for you to make sure that the ammonia, the nitrates are all perfectly fine. And then once you're ready, you can always head off and get your fish. Alright, so now that our tank is cycled, we can move on to step two, getting the guppies, bringing them home, and actually introducing them into your tank. There are one of two ways you can do this. You can sit the bag in your aquarium, let them temperature acclimate. Don't cross your water, that's one thing I'll have to say. Don't put the aquarium water from the store into your tank, into your aquarium. You don't know what other fish have been in that tank with the guppy. You don't know if any of them are ill, because these guys are raised in big batches. It's very hard for the fish store and for the breeders to identify some of the sick ones, so it's always best that you don't put in the water you got from the store. Best thing to do, get a bucket, put a net over the bucket, just get your bag and dump it in, and then you can introduce them that way. Another way you can do it is if you order your fish online and you get them shipped to you to help reduce the stress and also increase the survivability of the fish, is to drip acclimate them for about 45 minutes. This way they don't get stressed out and they can slowly get accustomed to the temperature, the pH, and whatever other parameters there are to look out for. So we've got the first two things out of the way. What else do we need to look out for when looking after guppies? There isn't really much else when it comes to looking after guppies. They're low maintenance. They have a very friendly temperament, so you can put them in with a lot of other fish as well. Certainly not anything big enough to eat them, and usually nothing that's aggressive, because they do have fancy tails that waft away, so they are quite a target for other fish to nip at them. If you are looking to keep a mixture of males and females, the best way to do it is a 1-to-2, one male for every 2 females. This gives the females a bit of a break, because males can be very relentless and this can tire them out, stress them out. So that's one thing to make sure that you do when you're keeping a mixture of males and females. And it depends on what you're looking for. If you're specifically looking to breed your guppies, I'd recommend that you don't cross different strains of guppies, because you can get a mixture of strains and not everyone wants that. You might not want that and you might make that mistake, so it is just one thing to avoid. I've kept my guppies separated, so I've got the males in one tank, the females in another tank, and I have a separate breeder tank. And so the 2 tanks you'll be looking at are the female and the male tanks only. The breeder tank isn't really, you can't really see into it. It's kind of like a bucket, big bucket. So that is what you should look out for when it comes to the tank mates and also the ratio of males to females. Moving on to the next step, how to help your babies survive. Guppies are a live bearer, which means they give birth to live young. So as soon as a fry is born, it's an instant snack. Most guppies will eat their own young, and if it's not their own young, they will certainly eat the other guppy young that are in the tank that aren't theirs. So I'd always recommend, I wouldn't say that it's the best thing to use a breeder box or to try and move the female when you think she's about to give birth. I've done it in the past. It does stress them out a lot. I've seen that it has been, so I won't say it's an unsuccessful method, but as somebody who doesn't want to stress out the fish, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But if you do want to use it, by all means, go ahead. It does work, so you can use it, and that is a good way to make sure that your babies are safe. Another really good way to do it is to have lots of hiding spots, whether that be pots and all sorts of makeshift PVC pipes. For me personally, I think the best thing to do is to add in a lot of plants. You get a lot of wins when you have loads of plants. One, the tank looks a bit nicer. Two, it actually acts as its own cleaning filtration system, so it helps to clean the tank. And three, it provides loads of spaces for your babies to hide. And it's not too intrusive as well, so your other fish don't get stressed out when it's in the tank with them. Yeah, that's really it, to be honest. Yeah, so long as you keep on top of your water changes, guppies are fairly easy, low maintenance fish. I feed my guppies once a day. You can feed it twice a day, once every other day, because guppies are a grazing fish. Once your tank is established, they will just go around and pick at the glass, pick at some of the rocks, or whatever other objects you put in the tank with them. They'll graze off the algae there. So you don't have to overfeed them. And in fact, it does help with tank maintenance. You don't get any of these ammonia spikes, you don't have these algae blooms and stuff like that if you try and keep a set feeding. And we can move on to talking about the size of the tank. So you can keep a guppy. So I have 2 Endler guppies, both males, and I keep them in my 14-litre tank, which is planted and has shrimp, and everyone in that tank is happy. But I've only kept 2 in there because it isn't the biggest tank in the world, and the guppies are smaller than the regular guppies. You can keep guppies in, I keep my guppies in a 30-litre and a 54-litre. The 30-litre is actually getting a bit overcrowded, so I will have to start moving fish into a bigger tank soon, or I might just get all the males and females and put them into one tank. Yeah, so anything from, ideally anything 30 litres and above is the right size, especially if you're looking to breed your guppies, because these guys breed like crazy. A female guppy will breed the male once, and after that you can remove the male from the tank, and every month from between 3 months to 2 years she will give birth on the clock. I have 1 female in the female only tank who is still giving birth, and I've had her since June. She hasn't been with a male since July, and there are still fry cropping up in that tank. And I know it's none of the other fish that are going to be giving birth because they're all female, and I've taken out all the males before they're ready to actually breed with them. There are ways of sexing your males and your females before they fully colour. Behind a female, so just under their belly at this curve, just before the tail, will be a small black spot. That usually indicates that that fish is a female. Another sign that you have a male is they'll have a gonopodium, which is a stick-like appendage which they use for reproduction. It kind of looks like a fin, but without the sail part, if that makes sense. And these tend to show up around or just before they start colouring fully. So if you're unsure, make sure you look for that. It's always a good idea, if you are trying to separate them out, to net them, put them in something that's clear and see-through, and just make sure that you do those last few checks just to be 100% sure. But yeah, otherwise guppies are a joy to have. I've had them for a couple of months now, yeah, and I think they are a wonderful fish. So much fun to breed, and to be honest, they're so much fun to look at because they come in such a variety of colors that you don't really need all these exotic monster fish if you're on a low budget and you just want an easy to keep fish. And they're always available. You can go to any store and you pick them up. You can find so many different kinds of them as well, which is one of the most fun things to do. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a bit short, but I spent a lot of time working on the cat video from, technically I uploaded it this morning, but last night, so I'm a bit bushed. But yeah. Alright guys, hope you stay safe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.